The world is no longer merely spinning. It is accelerating at a pace that defies historical precedent. We now stand at a pivotal turning point, where the dividing line between physical reality and digital manifestation is becoming increasingly blurred. This decade isn't just about how we utilize tools. It is about how technology has woven itself into every breath of human activity. This transformation, which we often call the digital revolution, has reached its peak through the massive integration of artificial intelligence, or AI, now serving as the central nervous system for the global economy. In this new era, standing still is the same as falling behind. The background of this change stems from a fundamental human need for absolute efficiency. However, what we face now goes far beyond mere productivity hacks. We are witnessing a paradigm shift in how we process information, make strategic decisions, and interact socially. If data was once considered the new oil, then in our current landscape, the ability to process that data through intelligent algorithms is the engine that determines who will survive in the global competition. It is no longer enough to possess information. One must possess the intelligence to act upon it in real time. Yet behind the glitch of this progress, challenges arise that are no less significant.
Inequality in technology access, ethical issues regarding data privacy, and existential questions regarding the role of humans in the midst of total automation have become the main narratives decorating every discussion table. Society is required not only to be consumptive users, but also to be digitally literate individuals so as not to be crushed by the swift current of change. This transition requires more than technical skill. It requires a shift in mindset. This chapter aims to map the current digital landscape. We will see how technological infrastructure has evolved from a mere tool into an independent, thriving ecosystem. By deeply understanding the fundamentals of digitalization, we are expected to lay a strong foundation of thought before stepping further into technical implementation and impact analysis. Our main focus is to understand that technology is not the final goal, but a means to achieve a better and more inclusive quality of life for all levels of society. Welcome to a new chapter of civilization, where every click and every line of code has the power to change the world.
Entering the core of this transformation, we must dissect the foundations that allow for such a massive leap in digital civilization. If the previous chapter discussed the overarching paradigm shift, Chapter 2 focuses on the technical infrastructure acting as the backbone of that change. None of today's progress happens in a vacuum or occurs instantly. Every breakthrough is the result of a long, calculated evolution involving increasingly powerful hardware, the availability of massive datasets, and algorithms that are beginning to mirror human cognitive patterns. The first pillar of this transformation is the seamless convergence of high-performance computing and near-instantaneous connectivity. Without flexible, scalable data storage and networks capable of transmitting information in milliseconds, artificial intelligence would remain a stagnant mathematical theory. Today, access to elite-level computing is no longer reserved for government laboratories. It is democratized through cloud services available to any innovator with a vision. This accessibility ensures that the barriers to entry are lower than ever, allowing global participation in the digital economy. The second and perhaps most transformative pillar is the maturation of machine learning and deep learning architectures. We have moved decisively away from the era of traditional, hard-coded programming, where humans had to provide every rigid instruction, to an era where machines autonomously learn from patterns.
Modern algorithms can now identify subtle market anomalies, predict consumer behavior with frightening accuracy, and translate human languages with nuanced emotional context. This marks the definitive transition from reactive systems to proactive, predictive intelligence. However, understanding this technology involves more than just analyzing code and silicon. We must also examine the socio-technical interface, the way humans interact with these systems daily. The integration of augmented reality and neural interfaces is becoming the new standard for professional collaboration, rendering old management theories obsolete. This chapter outlines how these technical elements lock together to form a coherent, self-sustaining ecosystem. By mastering these pillars, we prepare ourselves for the practical implementation strategies that follow, ensuring we lead the machines rather than being led by them.
Understanding the immense potential of technology is merely the beginning. The true challenge lies in integrating these advancements into established, often rigid systems. This chapter outlines how organizations and individuals can navigate this transition through a systematic and disciplined methodology. Digital transformation is not a sprint, nor can it be done haphazardly. It requires a measurable framework to ensure that the shift is seamless and does not destabilize the core operations that currently sustain the business. Successful integration always begins with a comprehensive digital audit, a process of mapping current capabilities against future targets to identify the innovation gap. The first tactical step in this methodology is the construction of a clean, integrated data infrastructure. Before any intelligent algorithm can provide value, the quality of the data fed into it must be impeccable. In the professional world, we often see transformation projects fail due to the garbage in, garbage out phenomenon. Therefore, establishing strict data governance and cleaning protocols is a non-negotiable priority. Once the foundation is solid, the focus shifts to selecting the right technology model, whether that involves automating repetitive administrative tasks through robotic processes or utilizing high-level predictive analytics to guide multi-million-dollar strategic decisions.
Beyond the technical layer, the most critical strategy involves the management of human capital. Technology remains a tool while humans remain the drivers. An effective implementation methodology must prioritize a continuous reskilling program. Employees must be trained not just to use new software, but to collaborate with digital entities in a way that enhances their own professional value. This requires a cultural shift from a traditional top-down hierarchy to an agile model, where rapid experimentation and small calculated failures are encouraged as vital learning milestones. Finally, every strategy must be anchored by periodic evaluations using data-driven key performance indicators. We must constantly measure whether the technology is delivering a tangible return on investment or merely adding layers of unnecessary complexity. By following this structured approach, technology integration ceases to be a daunting cost burden and becomes a long-term investment in global competitiveness. This chapter emphasizes that the winners of the digital age are not necessarily those with the most expensive tools, but those who are most effective at aligning those tools with human ingenuity and strategic goals.
After establishing the strategies for implementation, we must conduct a rigorous analysis of the outcomes and the inevitable consequences that follow. The digital transformation of 2026, powered by sophisticated artificial intelligence, has fundamentally reshaped the global productivity landscape. Statistically, operational efficiency across various sectors, from healthcare to heavy industry, has surged to unprecedented levels. Processes that once required weeks of human labor and oversight can now be optimized and executed in seconds. However, beneath these impressive growth metrics lies a layer of socioeconomic complexity that demands our full attention to ensure this progress remains sustainable and ethical. The primary focus of our analysis is the radical shift in economic value. We are witnessing a definitive transition from the ownership of physical assets to the mastery of digital and intellectual capital. In the current market, the most successful entities are no longer defined by the size of their physical footprint, but by the agility of their algorithms and the relevance of their data ecosystems. While this has sparked a wave of personalized innovation for consumers, it has also introduced the risk of data monopolies. If left unregulated, a handful of technology giants could stifle competition and prevent smaller, innovative players from entering the arena, creating a digital divide that mirrors historical wealth gaps.
Furthermore, we must address the ethical and privacy dilemmas that have become central to our time. As systems become smarter, their hunger for data grows. This creates a constant tension between user convenience and the fundamental right to privacy. Our analysis indicates that public trust has become the most valuable currency in the digital age. Organizations that fail to protect data integrity face a collapse in reputation that is nearly impossible to repair. Additionally, the specter of algorithmic bias poses a threat to social justice, as machines may inadvertently perpetuate human prejudices found in historical datasets. Finally, the impact on the labor market presents a nuanced portrait. While routine, manual tasks are being rapidly automated, we see the emergence of new roles that prioritize human creativity, high-level empathy, and technological supervision. The challenge is not a lack of opportunity, but the speed at which the workforce must adapt. This chapter concludes that digital transformation is a double-edged sword. It offers the power to advance civilization, but demands a heightened sense of moral responsibility to ensure that progress does not come at the cost of human dignity.
We have traveled a long way from the initial understanding of the dawn of digital civilization to an in-depth analysis of the ethical challenges that accompany it.
This fifth chapter serves as a synthesis of all the crucial points discussed, as well as a compass for stepping into an increasingly unpredictable future. The main conclusion that can be drawn is that technology, no matter how sophisticated, is only an extension of human will. The success of digital transformation in 2026 and beyond is measured by how many robots we have or how fast our processors run, but by how much that technology is able to improve human dignity and quality of life inclusively. Going forward, we will enter the era of collaborative intelligence, where the boundary between human instruction and machine execution will blend into a more organic harmony. We no longer see AI as a threat that will replace human roles, but as a partner that strengthens our intellectual capacity and frees us from the mundane. However, this harmony can only be achieved if we remain consistent on the path of strict regulation and transparent ethical development. Innovation without moral control is a dangerous path that leads only to deeper social inequality. Therefore, synergy between government, academia, and the private sector in creating a safe digital ecosystem is a fixed price that cannot be negotiated. As a final recommendation, every individual is required to have a lifelong learner mentality.
Dalam era yang secepat ini berubah, kemampuan untuk meninggalkan pengetahuan lama dan belajar keterampilan baru yang relevan adalah aset terbesar yang dapat dimiliki. Pendidikan tidak bisa lagi berhenti di bangku formal. Ia harus menjadi proses yang dinamis dan adaptif terhadap zaman. We must ensure that digital literacy reaches even the lowest layers of society so that the fruits of this progress can be enjoyed by everyone, not just a few technological elites. Closing this series of discussions, we must be optimistic but remain alert. The digital future is a blank canvas that we are painting together. With a strong foundation, the right strategy, and a commitment to human values, we can ensure that technology will always be a servant for the progress of civilization, not the other way around. Let's step into tomorrow with the courage to innovate and the wisdom to keep our humanity in the midst of the roar of algorithms.